I gave them a chance, but they canceled Conquer, so I was like, you know what? The hell with you guys.
Now, when the podcast go live, you won't be hearing no Mario Maker because I came home for the weekend and the Wii U's back in the apartment locked up tight.
Oh damn, that sucks for you, man.
You sound like it's your lady and you locked her up so she can't get out and cheat on you. Yeah, she's locked up tight, man. She ain't going nowhere. Only I'm allowed to play with her and download and upload information.
You know what, Red Fox? You took this to a really bad spot already.
No,
that's what it sounded like. I'm just saying.
That's why I learned to mute the mic all the time unless I'm.
No, this is for it was just some stuff I had to take care of. So
yeah, I didn't say anything illicit.
The leisure time will come in 3 weeks when spring break comes.
Say you're a lucky devil. I don't get. I will say this much though. Even though I was less than happy with the outcome of the Super Bowl, man, I made a lot of money Super Bowl Sunday off the suckers coming in to watch that damn game and drinking beer. You know, whether you're a Denver fan or a Panthers fan, there was lots of booze and chicken and wings and pizza butt. It was great.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and dispense with the bullshit. We are now live. We've been live for the last 2 or 3 minutes. But good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another OGL. This is number 4. We may have some guests pop in here. I'm not sure if they will, but I hope they do. But let me go ahead and introduce my current bastards from my left to my right, starting with KH.
What's going on, YouTube? KH Anime here. Not on Mario Maker, surprisingly, but let's get this thing started. Keep calm and game on.
Don't believe that shit. Next, Mr. Red Fox.
It's me, Mr. Red Fox. I'm the man who does not take any BS because, in my opinion, life is too short to deal with it. So when you see it, kick it in its butt and throw it down a flight of stairs.
Last but not least, well, it may not be the last, but TheGoodShepherd.
What's good, y'all? I'm still exhausted.
From what? You know what? Don't answer
Don't
answer. Valentine's Day. I don't want to know.
No. My workout. We fit you. Kicked my butt.
Yeah. Your workout, huh? With quotations, air quotes.
I'm determined to get my Wii to look like a normal person.
When you say we, you referring to like your gentleman parts?
Dude, see, you're the one taking it to that level.
He said, I'm determined to get my Wii working. I'm like,
I meant me. You're such a crass, such and such.
I'm just simply saying I'm going by what you said. That's all.
Okay, yeah, you just keep on going with that. So what are the topics for this week's OGL?
Actually, there are no topics, but there's something I want to bring up. It just happened recently. Not a big deal. But recently, I've told Shep and Cage about this, but recently I saw a post that someone announced that Destiny 2 is coming in 2017. And of course, naturally, you know, I'm not shitting on the game, but my first response was, and I think I was the first one to comment, I said, I did not care for or invest in the first one. I did not, I didn't like the DLC, how they DLC in that game. I said I'm not going to do so for the second one either. And somebody responded by saying that, and to keep in mind, I didn't mention anything Nintendo. That was the end of my comment right then and there. And the first thing someone says is, although I like Nintendo products, I prefer games that are more geared towards adults. And I'm like,
you know why? I bet you it's probably one of them fools that follow you. They know Dr. Feelgood prefers Nintendo games above all else.
No, I prefer games. Period. That's the truth. They can take from what they want, but just because this generation I'm playing my Wii U more so than anything else, that's where all the fun is to me. I play for fun. I don't play for achievements. I don't play for anything else. I play for fun. But my thing is, I didn't.
You see, and that's proof you're a liar because nobody plays for fun anymore.
Nah, shut
Yeah.
No one.
Look, if Shadow Fox were here, he would say it. Look, you got to play to impress other people. It's not about having fun.
Don't get me wrong. The ones that have Destiny, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. But don't get mad at me if I see bullshit for what it really is. And to me, Destiny is a bullshit title. It lied about being an online MMO shooter because it's not that. It's basically a 3-on-3 Halo in a sense. It really is. And my brother-in-law owns the game. I just watched him play it. I'm not impressed. I really am not impressed by the game. Not to say it's not enjoyable. I'm just not impressed by it. I'm not talking about graphics either. It's just the gameplay itself. It looks exactly like what we've gotten for the last 10 years with Halo. So to me, it's nothing special. But what got to me during the comment, and like I said, it offended me and upset me. But I was like, games geared towards adults. I say just because a game is mature rated does not mean it's geared towards adults. I'm like, I can tell you, there are many Nintendo games and franchises that if a kid between the ages of 3 and 12 was to pick it up, they would probably throw it back down because they cannot beat it or cannot progress it because it's not simple. For example, Pikmin is not a simple game. It may look childish, but it's an RTS, and it does require some type of critical thinking to pass and even complete the game. Not to 100%, but just to complete it. And I was like, okay. And I also went to the point that if you want to go back to just complete basics, and Red Fox, you mentioned this in podcasts before, when people talk about adult games and mature content, you do realize that game consoles are technically electronic toys.
That's all they are.
So, in a sense, you claim that you want something geared more towards adults, but you're an adult playing on something that's designed for what? Children?
I've been saying that for years, dude.
And you're playing with a toy, yeah.
And essentially, I made sure to say, no disrespect, not jumping on your throat, not saying what you have is not an enjoyable experience for you. If it is, it is. But I did say this. I said, you continue to play your adult games while I will continue to play games. Period. No matter the content, no matter who's on the box, no matter what characters it has, no matter how it looks, I'm going to continue to play games. Period. Whether it be Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, it doesn't matter. To me, I play games. Period. It does not matter. I mean, Sunset Overdrive. That's a mature game that most people didn't pick up. But I'm pretty sure you look at the elements in the game. The elements are fairly childish, except for they got a dildo gun. You can call it content mature, but come on. I mean, it's pretty much clear that a childish mindset came up with the concept for that game.
But I mean, basically, it's the M-rated Ratchet and Clank. Okay, like they took the rail rail grinding segments from Ratchet and Clank, because the Xbox crowd is too dude bro and hardcore for anthropomorphic animal creatures and robots. So they said, okay, we'll take that out. We'll make it into a hipster because I think one of the characters has a fedora, and that you can make has a fedora. And dude's grinding on rails, shooting stuff, and that's the whole. I mean, look, it's a fun game. Like literally, if Sunset Overdrive had come to PC, I would have bought it. But the fact that it's on exclusive to the Xbox, I'm not buying that shit. So, although I will readily admit that is a very fun game to play. Like I played it at my friend's house who has an Xbox, and it is Sunset Overdrive. Like that game should have sold at least 5 million. Like that game should have sold at least 5 million, and it's a damn shame.
What if it would have been on the Wii U?
Yeah, but we can't talk about that because that's sour graping the other console. I'm just saying that the crowd for that game was not the people who that game was made for. Like these are the Xbox fans who are like, we want new games, we want new experiences, we want new IPs. They got that, and they didn't buy it.
Hence me making a comment, I would have sold on the Wii U better. I'm not trying to say Wii U is better or anything along those lines. I'm saying there's a lot of Wii U players that would love that type of content.
I would have, but that's okay. But I'm not gonna be like one of those people. This should have been on my console. I'm like, if it would have been on
No,
PC,
if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting an Xbox just for Sunset Overdrive. I'm sorry. I need, like, for me, I need a strong first and second party library for me to buy a console, and I'm not seeing it from Sony or Microsoft. So I'm like, I can't bite the bullet yet.
You can't buy a console just for one game?
Nope.
What kind of gamer are you?
I'm the type of gamer who likes to have a huge library of games to choose from. So, one game is fun. When I was a little kid, one game got me by, but I'm a little bit older now, and I have access to more money. So,
But do you have the time to play all the games? Aha.
Well, think of it like this, okay? Let's say you had a personal library in your house, right? You would not have, like, a big shelf for multiple books and have only one damn book on your shelf. Like, that's stupid. So why would I buy a console for only one game when the whole
What if it's a massive comprehensive
huge
book?
library to choose from, variety. Like, I don't,
Nah, but you're right. In general, when you make that type of purchase, you should at least have several games to play or whatever to keep yourself entertained. Otherwise, it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Like I picked up the PlayStation 4. the PlayStation 4. The PS4. Sorry.
I would call it. I don't even call it the PlayStation 4. I call it the PS 3.5.
It essentially is.
We'll get
And
the PS4 when we come out with the next version of the PS4 that's slightly beefier, more powerful.
The PS4 is what the PS3 was supposed to be.
I guess, man. I don't know.
If you think about it, like the way they were begging the PS3, like it's supposed to run all games in 1080p and blah 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 blah. Although technically the PS4 still ain't quite doing that. Oh wait,
Not
sorry,
really,
that
no.
came up. Yeah, it's whatever.
I mean,
It's
I like the PS4. I do, but like the games that I'm
it's
seeing from
pretty.
them. Well, the games
white
that I'm seeing from them are not
and gold.
really.
I'm listening to you. Keep going.
Aren't really,
Well,
I got
the
you.
reason I'm bringing that up because I actually do want to know, and I'm not trying to spark any controversy for those out there listening, but here's the thing: I really do want to know, from each one of you, what do you consider a game that's geared for an adult? Not that I care, not that it means anything to me, because it doesn't mean much. I play games because I enjoy games, not because they are geared for me as a specific demographic audience. So to you, if I had to ask you, like, which I am, to you, what is a game that's geared towards an adult? Do you determine that by how the content's rated? Do you determine it by, the length of gameplay? Is it determined by who makes it? I mean, to you, if I told you right now, mention the game that's geared towards an adult, what would you say?
Well, this is an easy trap to fall into, but I'm gonna go by a trap that I'm gonna use a definition that actually seems to fit better than just saying what something's rated, because there are tons of games that are rated T for teen or M that feel like they should be for like 4 or 5-year-olds. I think that a game being for an adult should deal with concepts and skills that kids wouldn't really understand or wouldn't appreciate. For example, I think that most RPGs are for your older gamers. Because in order for you to be good at them, you have to have patience and like know how to deal with repetition, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And kids don't have that type of patience for those types of games.
Yeah.
Nope. You got to sit down and create strategies and all kinds of stuff.
Sims,
like turn-based.
Yeah, Sims. Like I'll give you an example, like Harvest Moon, where you have to go and form a budget and you have to like plant stuff and then like grow it and like do a lot of repetitive tasks in order to get a big payoff later on. Like these are concepts as adults we know because we have jobs, we've gone to school, stuff like that. But a kid wouldn't appreciate that stuff. Like they don't appreciate that type of stuff. So, I mean, I would think that would kind of those are adult-oriented games. I don't think just because something's rated T for teen or M for mature, it makes it an adult. Because there are tons of M-rated games that are juvenile as hell. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna. Well, I was gonna say some of those Arrow games they make, but I mean, whatever.
I was also going to add SimCity. That's more. I consider that an adult game. It's rated E because you got to budget properly in order to maintain a healthy city, and you got to do cuts and spend. Like no child's going to know how to play SimCity correctly. They're going to see that you get $500,000. I'm just going to spend it all, and then you be in a huge debt.
Well, I'm going to keep it real. I always put the cheat code that gave me lots and lots of money. Like, I try to budget really well in the beginning, like when I was a kid, but then I put the cheat in that gave me lots of money, and then I just build the perfect city until I ran out of money again. I call that the stimulus package. And then and then when I got older with, like, SimCity, I got smart with how to budget and how to build, like, get in the zones and everything. So I can appreciate what you're saying, dude. You're right.
Anybody else? Games geared towards adults.
Gal games?
You said what?
ROG. Chap, I forget it. I was being facetious. It's really naughty stuff. Leave that alone. But honestly, like, Red Fox said it perfectly. A true mature game is basically a game that is complex in a manner that children can't quite play it or comprehend. It's not violence or boobs or any of that stuff. That's just, come on. We played Mortal Kombat as kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that 80% of the games that are rated mature are played by, like, 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds. Should they be playing it? No. Are they playing it? Yeah. I'm just saying, like, they just want to see explosions and boobs and all that other crap. Thus, we don't really need that because we have easy access to it anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, people think that because something is really violent or has boobs and nudity and cussing, well, that's a mature game. It's like, no. Game.
Honestly, it's very immature most of the time.
And you know what? And it's funny you bring that up, Shep, because another thing I mentioned in my post before, like I said, I didn't drag it out at all, but I also said that it has actually been proven that Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, and even Destiny, that the bulk of the player base is built up of children, not adults, but children. And of course, the response I got is, you can't prove that. I'm like, well, you can probably ask around any forum, even though I know I can't work for the company, so I can't really actually prove that factually. But it's pretty much one of those known truths that you hear about. It's mostly kids. I've never ran into a bunch of adults playing Call of Duty. It's always comprised mostly of children. Nothing
and
wrong
teenagers.
with that. But
teenagers.
Teenagers. It's like, but I rarely come across, gamers that are, if I had to guess their age, I would say between the mid-20s and above while playing those shooter-type games. Because typically, they're not the ones that are excited about running out and getting those games. They may be the ones that talk the most and hype themselves up the most, but the ones that actually go out and buy them and sink in hundreds of hours are the teenagers.
Yep.
Sorry, but teenagers are, at most, they may be adolescents, but they're not adults. It's a fact. But guess who plays Splatoon more? Adults, not children.
Well, I don't know. I've been seeing some really weird comments lately in the Splatoon community.
You're referring to the P comment. Let it go.
Oh, wow. I didn't even go that route. But yes, that too. I will not let it go. He let it go. Remember?
But it's just, like I said, I wasn't offended by the post. It didn't affect me.
I wasn't. It was funny. I was just like, okay, that's weird.
I just feel like, That's why I said you can enjoy your games.
Wait. Just to put you on blast while we're live. In a way, you kind of instigated an argument, dude. Because I mean, if you see some idiot talking nonsense, as long as he ain't messing with you, why even bother? Like I would have just kept on going.
No,
Just saying.
no. Like I said, the initial post just said Destiny 2 is coming out. And I said, well, I'm not interested, and I didn't invest in the first one. I'm not going to invest, so I'm not interested in the second one.
Right, but I'm just right.
That's all I said.
Yeah, but you just basically took a dump all over that dude's fun.
I think
That had nothing to do with you. You should just leave it be and keep it moving, bro.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's what shit's trying to say.
I mean, but if you post something, I mean.
I know, but I don't respond to every single post. I only respond to stuff that pertains to me. Because otherwise, I'd be online 24/7 just responding to posts.
I mean, yeah, but don't be
you
wrong.
did-
Like, I mean, this person I am.
I mean,
like,
you're my boy, bro, but you kind of started it that time.
I don't really.
I'm
see
just saying.
how-
I mean, I'm not gonna take it that far. It's just people think that everyone is gonna be excited. Like, not everyone's gonna be excited about the same, because all gamers are different. You can't compare two gamers
Agreed.
that are exactly the same. For example, I'm excited as hell that I'm getting Twilight Princess in March. Some people don't care. They're gonna be like, it's just an HD remake. Fuck those people. But I mean, like, for me, that's like my favorite Legend of Zelda. The fact that they took a 6th-gen game, up-resed it, added some new features, and plus we're getting that awesome Wolf Link amiibo. Like, that's awesome to me. But some people would find that boring and a waste of time, and that's their prerogative. That's their, they can do whatever they want to. But just like they find that boring, I found Destiny, and I played it on PS4. I found it to be boring too. I
actually liked Destiny, but it's not my cup of tea. Like, it's not a game I would sink hundreds in. Yeah.
What got me with Destiny was that what they promised it, what they hyped it up to be, it didn't deliver on, and I felt like they lied. So I was like, nah, I can't.
Isn't that how it is with most third-party content?
Well, because when they were initially talking about this game, they were like, we're gonna get all the stuff that Borderlands missed, and they were like, okay, I'm on board with that because I like Borderlands, but there's some things that are wrong with it. And then they were showing off the aesthetic. It's gonna have a deep, involved storyline. I was like, yeah, I'm behind that. And then they were like, and this is made by the people who made Halo. And it's gonna be an RPG. I was like, oh, you got me. And then they showed the speeders. I'm like, you're throwing in some Star Wars. Oh, that's cool. And then I played the game and I was like, this is none of this. You're like, literally, you're like a chick that was talking all this stuff you were gonna do, and then we got down to the point, and it was just like, that was.
She just laid on the bed.
That was underwhelming. That was very underwhelming. You talked a good game, but to the actual event, it was nothing like it was advertised.
Awkward silence.
You're very awkward. Well, it's a good thing we had the silence because we have a guest that's missed out on the last couple of OGLs and was supposed to attend. The best announcement bastard I know. Go ahead, Triple M.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we live?
We've been live, bruh.
Oh, snap. I thought it was an hour later.
No, we are live, man. You jumped right in the middle of it. We haven't been live long, but you're here. Go ahead and give your piece.
Oh, man. If we're already live, then you just disturbed my way to bring out that introduction for this cast. Anyway, we'll do it next time. And this is Triple M here, and you bastard.
Anyway, well, before we move on from this topic, since you just jumped in, Triple M, tell me, to you, what kind of game is geared towards adults? Do you determine it by type of content? Is it by play style? Like, what do you think? What do you consider a game that's geared towards an adult?
I'm sorry. Is this a trick question?
No, it isn't. But I guess in a sense it is. It's kind of it's an ironic question, but go ahead and answer.
All right, yeah. I think at least we have some sort of working brain. But I guess if we didn't, then how can we explain such things? Well, anyway, here I go. Adult games. Well, for me, it's more like the nature of the content. As in, is it really for kids? No? Okay, good. So we're adults. Sure. Let's go with that.
Oh, I can actually see that point as well. I mean, but the reason I'm asking is that, as I pointed out earlier, in a recent post that I commented on cordially, someone just responded to me
Yeah,
by
he wasn't
saying,
being rude or anything.
yeah, but someone just simply said out of nowhere, just like, I like, although I love Nintendo, I like playing games geared towards adults. And I'm thinking, I can't really think any games, if I want to use this generation, I can't think of any games this generation on the Wii U, at least not many, that are not geared towards adults. As I stated, Pikmin is not geared towards children. It may look like it may attract children, but I can tell you, children and probably young teenagers, unless they really are into gaming, Pikmin, it will probably piss or turn them off within the first 5 minutes. It really would. Even Splatoon, as fun as it is, you take your ass online for 5 minutes, you'll discover something about yourself, and it's not pleasant. It really isn't. And
you discover you're gonna get beat like a little bitch. That's.
and I mean, like I say, the main characters may be children, and even the whole just premise behind Splatoon and just the atmosphere, the theme may be childish, but I can tell you the gameplay and the players 9 times out of 10 are anything but childish.
Yep.
Hold on.
The kids are the first one to get wrecked.
Yo, Doctor, Kanosh wants an invite. I don't know if you saw it in the thing.
You know what? I may as well, since this is more like an impromptu. To hell with it. I'll be sure to shoot him one.
Breaking the rules, isn't it? Oh my gosh, the one who set it all up. But yes, I wanted to say this. So you mean to tell me that let's see,
I'm gonna make the stew chicken. Oh crap! Stew chicken.
I would like a piece of that stew chicken. But anyway, so you mean to tell me a game instructs you to do some sort of movement, and it could be interpreted in any freaking possible ways, and then at least one person would say, "Oh my gosh, that's very innuendo-ish." You call that adult?
No, adult games are games where I have 13-year-old kids yelling in my ear while I'm playing it, talking about how they're gonna have sexual relations with my mother. Those are adult games.
and you know what though? Triple M's photo here brings up. It reminds me of a meme that I'm pretty sure we've all saw here, where it shows Call of Duty and it shows a whole bunch of kids being hyped for it, then it shows Pokemon, and it shows a whole bunch of adults being hyped for the game. And if you think about the world of Pokemon and all the fans, and there are tens of millions, if not more so than that, but what would you guys say the bulk of their fan base is? Children or adults?
I would call it even split, actually.
Let's say it's about even now because more and more people are jumping in at younger ages.
Yeah.
And originally, a couple of years ago, it would have been mostly adults.
Yeah.
And in the last 5-10 years, it's about half and half.
And I can see that, but now in reference of the Pokemon games, are they more geared towards children or adults?
Visually, it's geared towards children. The complexity of the game is a completely different beast.
I would say, isn't it for everyone?
Well, I mean, I know what you're saying, Triple M, but what I mean by it's geared towards children is because Pokemon, even back in the day, was a child empowerment fantasy. Because you got this little 11, 12-year-old going around the world, like he dismantles a criminal organization, he becomes the most badass Pokemon trainer in the land, like, defeats his rival. I mean, this kid's living the dream, you know?
So true.
You know what adult games are? You know, they're those AO games that are very hard to find.
Okay, well, let me add this to it then. So, let's say we take the Pokemon games, right? Let's say we take these games, and instead of having a 12 or 13-year-old, we have a 26 or 26 to 30-year-old person, you know, and instead of having Charizard like a cartoon, he looks like that thing from that Platinum game.
You're talking about Scalebound?
Yeah. So let's imagine Nathan Drake in
I see where this is
Pokemon.
going.
Let's imagine Nathan Drake in Pokemon, and instead of Charizard, we got Scalebound. And
That would be
but the premise of the game is the same. So does that make the game? Let's say it plays exactly the same, except we just make the character 30 instead of 12, and we make the dragon more realistic instead of cartoonish. Does that change the way you
Sad
play?
part is, I buy that game day one.
Yeah, I would buy it too, but does that change the way you play the game?
No, but
No.
I don't think that
No.
game would. I don't think that game would be as appealing.
So what you're
Oh, no,
trying to
that's
say
not.
is no, but he's on to something, because what you're trying to say is, although it may have a more mature theme to it because it's no longer considered childish, it wouldn't be more appealing because it's become quote unquote too realistic or too adult.
It's become too realistic. Because basically, you're in, like, Pokemon is a fantasy game, right? Oh, well, actually, it's not a fantasy game, because people had dogfighting used to be an acceptable form of entertainment like
And
100,
butt
150 years ago. But I mean, it's basically you're making these animals fight, right? But if you did it too realistically, it would be like, this is a little too close to home. It works when it's like, hey, it's an animal creature with a plant growing out of its head. Yeah, fight that other animal creature that's a goldfish flopping around on the ground. Fight it. Like, it works when it's unrealistic. Aesthetically, Pokemon works because it's fantastical. If you made it realistic, it would look ridiculous.
I mean, but at the end of the day, if you had these two games side by side and they played exactly the same way,
Yeah.
does that make the game more adult? Like, to me, I play games, whether it's a cartoony game or whether it's Uncharted. I still play games the same way. I still have the same mindset when I play them. I still enjoy them the same way. I don't give a shit what the content is, or how the content's rated, or what's in it. It's still, to me, a video game. So I don't look at the game as, you know what, I want to buy that one instead because it's more geared towards adults. I buy a game because it's appealing to me, not because of the type of content that's in it, but just looking at the game as, you know, as what it is. It's a damn game. I don't look at Monopoly and be like, man, you know what, that looks cool, but it just looks too adult. So what I want to do is see some realistic figure on the front of it, you know, handing out money and probably drugs. And I mean, no, you don't want to see that. Like, that wouldn't work. But I don't look at Monopoly as a childish game. I just see it as a game. I look at video games as video games, something to play and enjoy myself. I don't need to have adult entertainment.
Now, if it was just personally for me, or no. Before I say that, I would use this scenario. Now, if I wanted to play something with others, and yes, things if you befriend people from underage, no, get your heads out of the gutter. I didn't mean that type of way. Just wait, I fumbled on my own chest. But anyway, if you want to have a family-friendly gathering, yeah. If it's a game that has a content that has sex and violence and all that, with basically no kind of context or whatsoever, I would deter myself from it to play those games with others. But if it was just me, heck, I don't care. I'm old enough to play them. But the to cast my my adulthood, macho, and all that. That's bullocks.
So what the problem with the problem with a lot of the modern gamers is that, you know, all video games are is playing pretend. And, you know, we played pretend a lot when we were kids, and that's essentially what video games are, playing pretend. Playing a pretend soldier in pretend wars, playing a pretend Indiana Jones knockoff, pretending to explore pretend areas inspired by real places. You know, it's all just imaginary. So I don't know why people, you know, need this video games to justify.
I'll have you know, my plasma cannon is not imaginary.
Not to mention these consoles are toys too. It's not like they're like tools. What makes the PS4 and Xbox One less of a toy?
Well, I know what makes the PS4 more secure, because they found out who was watching all that internet porn on the PS4. That's why it's more mature.
Yeah, there are sex toys. So.
You just had to bring it up, did you, Red Fox?
These are facts.
All right, well, we can move on from that.
Wait.
Controversy.
Before you move on, now that you mentioned that, Red Fox, it kind of made me brainstorm. It's kind of ironic that when people say the Wii U is mostly geared for kids, but then we have statistics showing that adults are actually playing that console more so than those other two consoles, and yet, like you brought it up,
Something in there.
those other two, or at least the PS4 case, those are the ones that looks on porn a lot more. Ironic.
What is going on at Doc's house?
I don't know.
I heard somebody zipping something. I'm like, what is going on?
But what I will say is this: it's hard for me to care about some of these franchises, because the people who, you know, who are propping them up. It's hard for me to care about these consoles. I guess the reason these consoles have such a high rate of people watching illicit porn sites and not playing games, because they don't have anything to play. So
Well, no, they do have something to play. They even got a built-in joystick.
No, I mean, they don't have any games.
Hey, you know what?
They don't have any games to play.
Feature.
Every one of these consoles comes with a first-person shooter.
And that Rumble feature.
I think we took it too far. Let's move on.
Yeah, we did take it too far. I think we should reel it back in. Reel it back in.
Dude, this is OGL. We don't have to reel it back in. If y'all want to
so
expand
cross.
upon it, go right ahead.
I think we should just go as worst as we could possibly go.
Or in the worst of Deadpool, let's put balls in holes.
I'm seeing that movie tonight, by the way, with the girlfriend.
I would tell you, dude, funniest movie I've ever seen. Some of the best action I've seen in a movie, period. And on top of that,
Come on.
dude, the movie's so funny.
Well, bye-bye.
Even the movie's so funny. Even the opening credits are funny.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, dude, it's almost perfect. I can say it's almost perfect.
Great.
And for those, you know, Valentine people out there, super penis.
Last longer than any other normal man.
I don't have a girlfriend, so I don't have to worry about wasting a bunch of money on Valentine's Day.
See, and that's why you don't have a girlfriend.
That's harsh, man.
And I mourn for having a significant other.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. If you don't spend the money on the quality time for the holidays, it's a bad situation.
What if it's a long distance relationship?
then you should at least send flowers and a card.
Well, if y'all want to continue upon relationship advice, go right ahead.
I heard long distance relationship is actually.
But I firmly believe that you can't top off your Valentine's Day without getting laid. It's as simple as that.
What I'm going to use, a computer screen?
Hey, some people do. Some people do.
You know, there are tons of people that go down that route. I mean,
Hey,
you know, as long as you're not like that guy in Detroit who was taking care of business in the car with the top down and got in a wreck and flew out the top of the sunroof, you're fine.
What the bloody hell?
Hey, you know what? Just be sure that I'm not even gonna go there.
That's a horrible way to go. I mean, how you gonna show up the eulogy for that guy? Be like, Uncle Steve was a great guy.
I'm sorry. Did I hear it right? Someone's junk actually got all the way outside the window?
No, I mean, he was taking care of business. He had his pants off. He had his smartphone, which he was using to facilitate him taking care of business, and he was got in a wreck. The sunroof was open, and he flew out of the top of the thing and died. But that's a horrible way to get caught dying. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's horrible.
You never want to die.
Gosh.
You never want to die a modern caveman death.
Guess that's worse than being a 40-year-old virgin.
No, I don't want to die. Period. I want to beat death. I want to live forever.
Anybody else got any other topic they want to bring up at this time?
Division. Let's talk about the division.
Oh shit!
Now that's
you
what
know
I
what?
call
For this one, I'm gonna actually just sit back. I think I know the news he's gonna bring up specifically, but I'll go ahead and let y'all talk about that. And yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna release the hounds. Y'all go crazy on that shit. 'Cause it's terrible.
Release the dogs.
So I have to play the devil's advocate on this one. BioShock Infinite on the PlayStation 3 had a feature called Block Frame Rate, which enabled the player to turn on VSync, which you don't see in a lot of games. So how bad is it for the Division 3 compared to, say, BioShock Infinite, which had a VSync option?
Oh, we're going this route. To be honest, I myself didn't hear the specific details of it, but I'm kind of speechless that they're even treating these consoles as PCs.
Many people are using the argument that, well, it's more options, but at the same time, there just seems
Okay.
to be...
All right. Okay. Now that you brought that up, I'm like, really, more options. So you mean, you gamers, and I'm using air quotations here, you gamers out there who wants that game to look dashingly beautiful in every way, and now you just want it's an option to you that you want it to run better. But at the cost of looking at beautifully. I am sorry, but your hypocrisy really spills on this, man.
Why don't they just set it? Why don't they just keep it at the settings that it's most, required to run at a decent frame rate?
Because they're
not optimized. That's why.
That would require optimization, and this is Ubisoft. They ain't optimizing shit.
To me, from what I've seen of Division, like, I will say this: Division looks like a multiplayer Splinter Cell. I enjoy Splinter Cell Blacklist. I love that game. In fact, I was just playing it last week. We'll be uploading some gameplay of it. But although I do want the game, when I saw that, it's like, so this is how you guys, and I rarely use this term, but I'm going to use it right fucking now. It's funny how you guys would damage control this by saying that, it's an option. When in the past, when you compare PS4 and Xbox One games, You have said the PS4 performs better, is more powerful, runs at a higher frame rate, runs at a higher resolution. This is what we want. But now that a game cannot obtain the promised visual features, or at least the ones you were given initially, now it's well, at least we have the option. So you have the option to run in shitty or shittier mode? Like, that's the way I look at it. Do you want to run the game as a shitty, shallow form of its former self, or do you want to run it in a shittier, shallow version of its former self? Like, to me, like, cause look at the game. Like, I'm not a graphics score by any means.
I like the optimal shitty side, please.
I'm not a graphics score by any means whatsoever. Trust me, I am not. But to me, this sounds a lot like the same damage control they accuse people that love the Wii U of doing. Like, oh, well, our game runs at 720p, 60 frames per second. Yeah, but it's not 1080p. It's like, well, it should be 1080p. Well, you're damage control. It's like, really? How is that damage control? The game works beautifully. It doesn't have any, it doesn't break down. It doesn't pause or lock up on you. I mean, I don't understand.
You have to be real close to even to notice the between 720 and 1080p anyways.
You would have to have the eyes of a hawk.
You're damage controlling. You're all damage controlling.
You're right, I am damage controlling. Because at the end of the day, anything above 680 is high definition any damn way.
You can't tell them that though, because once their game comes in 1080p, we got the real version. We got the definitive
1080p.
Version.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Plus, some TVs don't even output 1080. Some of them just max out 720.
Yeah, but we can't talk about that because that makes sense.
Well, no, real games run at 900p at 30 to 45 frames per second. Okay.
Hey, I will tell you this. I'm so looking forward to, the NX running at 4K. It's going to be so easy, guys. I'm pretty sure they can knock it out.
No, dude, it's supposed to be 8K. Did you not read the memo?
That means it's going to have 16K textures.
Man, forget what you guys said. Kimishima called my house and told me it's going to be 20K. They're going to future-proof this shit for the next 10 years.
We're not going to talk about this at this moment, and I will say that, and I will say it again right now. Fucking X. Moving on. But the game's not optimized. It's not. You can tell. How many times we've been given it with a what we now refer to as bullshots.
That's
like
bullocks.
Truly. The game looked damn good when they first showed it. They delayed it like 4 times. And then now it looks like an up-res PS3 game. On the true next-gen console. I'm using quotes.
And you know what? I wouldn't even mind that if it's just PS3 graphics. If they didn't push that whole resolution gate.
Exactly. See, I don't care either way, but they push it as being truly next gen, which I don't even believe in that shitty statement. But you push it as this, and it's actually less spectacular than probably something that was on the last gen console. And people are defending this by saying, at least we have the option. Let me get this straight. Example. If Splatoon had the option to run at 20 frames per second, let me tell you something. I wouldn't brag about that fucking option. I'm sorry.
I would, because it looked like claymation. That'd be really cool.
Like I wouldn't brag about that. If Mario Kart had the option to, like, if it just had the option to like only have 2 cars on the screen, during online play as opposed to whatever.
Jokes aside, though, look, based on the visual style they used, if it ran at 20 frames per second, it would look like clay. That's kind of cool.
True. That's kind of what they did with Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Although that game is 60 frames per second, it appears to be 30. But I think that's just crazy that people are running to defend this shit.
Because that's
And
all
these
they
are the
got.
same people, like less than a month ago, bragging about we want 1080p. We're getting 60 frames per second, with Fallout and all these other games. And yet, the most played games this generation, such as Destiny, are 30 frames per second or 900p. So I'm just wondering, so now you guys want to defend the fact that this game can't even run normally without you turning some shit off.
Man, I'm telling you, it's all they got. Anyone here ever seen An Officer and a Gentleman with Richard Gere?
No, I think I've seen some of it, not all of it.
Well, there's this scene in the movie where the drill sergeant is breaking this guy down. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna kick you out the program because you're not doing X, Y, or Z. He's like, don't do that. He's like, why shouldn't I do it? He's like, I got nowhere else to go. That's how these people are. They're so desperate to have something to hang on to, no matter how shitty it is. They got nowhere else to go. I mean, they're like they're desperate. Look, I can understand. They put $350 down or more on these consoles, right? That's serious money. That's a car down payment. That's multiple small bills. That's a light bill, gas bill.
Not to mention the online,
cable bill.
You need, the membership.
Yeah, that's a lot of money that these people plunk down, and they ain't getting what was promised. I'd be mad. Instead of being mad, though, they're trying to, maybe if I do this, it'll be different. No, man, you got screwed over. Admit it, move on, find a better console, or at least be open about it. Look, they screwed me over. I fell into the hype,
Or option three. Or option three.
Or go buy yourself a Wii U.
Or PC.
or get a gaming PC.
Yep.
Like even that isn't saved from bugs and glitches.
Well, I mean,
it's like if it's something like Ubisoft, EA, I wouldn't trust them with 10-foot pole.
No one can trust them, especially EA. Those bastards.
I'm assuming that a lot of you guys saw that meme I posted about 2 weeks ago about EA.
Yeah,
please do not bring that up, man.
Well, it's true. It may be a little graphic, but it's so true. Except you need to replace the person getting serviced with your wallet.
It's funny. It really is funny. Like I said, I saw that like a year ago, but it's so true because especially you think about, and I don't mean to bring this up, fans. I'm a fan too, but you guys fell for it, not me. Battlefront. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of these Battlefront players don't even own a Wii U, but we're still bragging about how soon they have choices.
Battlefront is a front.
Yeah. You're such a dick. I'm pretty sure a lot of these Battlefront players don't even own Wii U's, but jumped on a bandwagon and harp on Splatoon about not having voice chat or having certain other features, and yet this game came out later on more powerful hardware with less shit to offer. And I'm thinking,
wait. You said it like this. You said it like this, Doctor. More powerful, a lot easier to program than the Wii U, and still come out like that. Oh, and extra $60 on top for DLC.
10 out of 10.
A full game.
10 out of 10. 9 stars.
So is
Best game ever.
Is it okay to say that the PS4 and Xbox One are weak consoles and that they're not true 8th gen consoles and that we should just dub them as 7.5 generation?
No, man.
Actually, no. Technically, the hardware is worthy of 8th generation. It just wasn't optimized correctly. They threw it together.
Hey, dude,
if you take your time and actually connect it properly, but who the hell's gonna do that?
What the hell you doing, man?
Properly.
You gonna get us killed. Look, for all the ones out there that bought a PS4 and Xbox One, I do apologize for Kenoshi's comments. He doesn't realize that you guys do have the most powerful hardware out there, even though you have no fucking games that work. Moving on.
My games work. Some of them.
Can we just keep it real?
They got games.
No. Let's just keep it real. They have games, but most of them are shit that could have been that either was remastered from last gen, or was gonna be made for last gen and was just upported a little bit. Let's get that out the way. Secondly, let's also keep it real. These are not powerful consoles. These consoles are like really weak gaming PCs that have been optimized to play games. Except they aren't even good at that because, I mean, I thought the 7th gen was the height of us having broken, glitchy games on these systems. But then 8th gen comes along and proves me wrong. It's even worse now than it was last gen, and that's insane.
I gotta go, gents.
Yeah, it's like
Ready calls, peace.
All right, take care, Commander.
It's like I think they're
get the hell out of here, you bastard.
I think they're using the equivalent of GTX 480s from several years ago. That's what they're running on. I remember everybody complaining about, oh well, the Wii U's hardware is weak. It's using chipsets from several years ago, and then all of a sudden these consoles come out. It's like, what, you were expecting these little boxes to use top of the line desktop hardware that would produce Avatar-like graphics?
Well, of course, man. GDDR5.
Name one. Can these people explain what RAM is and how it works, how it functions?
No.
In the words of Triple M, 8 gigabytes of ramming.
No, the only thing they know is that they got 8 gigs of it, and they don't know what the hell it does.
And the games aren't even using all 8 gigs.
Nope.
I think for the Xbox One, if you had to connect connected to it, it was only able to access about 5 gigs for gaming.
Yep, and the PS3,
I think for PS4 it was like 6.
It's 6, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, isn't like two of the 2 gigs used for like the OS.
Yep.
Yeah. The OS and keep applications running in the background while you game, so you can access them real time. But yeah, so basically for gaming purposes, the PS4 is 6 gigs, the Xbox One was 5 gigs. But when they did that patch for the Kinect where you can use the system without it, it basically gave it about the same 6 gigs.
So what about when you have other applications running in your background as you're playing games? Because some people you can probably do a bit of multitasking. So what also lessen the amount of RAM that you could.
No, that's the 2 gigs were for on standby. The 2 gigs that were not used for gaming were used for background applications and the OS.
Okay.
Yep.
Like the Wii U has 2 gigs of RAM total, and they have 1 gig dedicated to gaming at all times. The other gig is actually dedicated for the OS and the background applications. So basically, if you put it on paper, the Wii U is doing more with 1 gig than these bastards are doing with 6.
Well, we can't necessarily fault the hardware. We also have to fault the programmers, the developers, the people who are programming for these games, for these consoles. Because if they knew how to use the consoles efficiently, they could probably do it more with.
Well, in the words of Nduo, shout out to him by the way. But it's not really even the developers. Yes, they're the ones programming the game, but they are basically following orders. It's the publishers. The publishers are the ones that are giving those really harsh, deadlines, and they tell them to cut corners here and there to push a game out sooner to build up their pockets. But a lot of developers actually have come out and stated that, if they had more time, they would have done more. But at the end of the day, no matter how much the developer wants to do, even willingly, voluntarily, the publisher is going to say, we want this game out, we want it out now, we want to push sales. That's why a lot of games come out broken.
Which brings it all back around to the Division. That's why the Division is unoptimized. Because remember, the Division was supposed to come out last year. People forgot that it got delayed to this year. Ubisoft is bleeding money. And we need to make money.
So, viewers of this podcast, just imagine publishers in suits with whips cracking faster.
So what if the Division comes out and it's Destiny Part 2, bare bones, very repetitive. You know, I've heard decent things about it, but I heard decent things about the Destiny beta too when that first dropped. And when the Destiny game dropped, it's like,
In my opinion, it's probably going to sell about. I will go ahead and say about 3 to 5 million copies.
Maybe,
And
maybe,
then
but not at full
then it's
price.
gonna flop. But it won't make them a profit.
No, it's probably going to sell about, I want to say at full price, it's probably going to sell 1.5 million. And then as they start discounting it and having like little sales, it'll probably go up to 2, 3. They're not going to make their money back because Ubisoft made some serious mistakes with this game.
I mean, if they're lucky enough with the with that second Destiny game that's supposed to come out, if they didn't splurge their budget on advertising, then they might get lucky.
Maybe.
No, but it's not even really about the advertising. What's happening is Ubisoft essentially have large teams of developers. While Nintendo may have had a team of 50 to 100 folks working on Mario Kart, I'm not saying I know the exact amount. On Assassin's Creed Unity, it was about 800 people working on that game. It was tons. You cannot have any kind of synchronicity when you have that many people working on a game. There is nothing that puts everyone on the same page, more or less. It's nothing. You cannot beta test properly for that game in-house, which is why they release a beta of a game and let the public test it out. And then
but they don't do that anymore. They release a broken game, and they make people pay them $60 to play a beta, and they fix it after the fact.
And you know what? That is really and truly sad. I can honestly say that I've downloaded quite a few demos, but never any broken ones. I really haven't. And maybe it's because I haven't downloaded enough. But when they release betas of like Call of Duty, Halo, I'm never interested. It's like, if you got to release a beta of your game, and the reason they do that is to beta test, but get it done for free. So basically, you people out there, you gamers, are paying them to beta test their game, to quality control it. You really are. You're paying $60 to do this. But to do that, I'm sorry. They really do it to maintain the hype. People get hyped for a game, and then it doesn't come out for 2 years. The hype starts dwindling. You can't keep marketing the game. It's not going to be out for 2 years. So what do? Oh, we're going to have an alpha, or we're going to have a beta, and we're going to release it. And then we're going to say, if you get it on release day, we give you exclusive DLC for it. That's how you maintain hype. That's how you maintain the hype of a game. But it's starting not to work. Call of Duty has actually been losing sales year on year ever since the release of Modern Warfare. Like Modern Warfare 2, it peaked. Then after that, it started going down every single year. They may tell you that they had more pre-orders, but overall sales of the game, of course, attributed to the hype around it, has been dwindling ever since Modern Warfare 2. After that, it started dropping. And it's still dropping to this day. Even with Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 or whatever, it's still dropping to this day. That's why they're doing more to try to maintain the hype, which is giving you alphas and betas. That's it. Or releasing a broken game early so they can fix it later and then still sell you DLC. They're still trying to maintain the hype. Just like Quantum Break, there was a lot of hype surrounding that game. But the game, from the day they announced it, was 3 years removed, basically?
2.5.
About 2.5 years. So the hype, and plus, that's not really a hugely popular, franchise. Well, I won't say franchise, but that type of game, that genre, is not hugely popular. The open world part is, given Grand Theft Auto. But other than that, they won't be competing with Grand Theft Auto. They're going to try to, but nothing right now is going to compete with it. There are probably better games out there, but besides the point, I mean, they're going to try to hype this game up, and I'm pretty sure Quantum Break is probably going to get a beta. It's probably going to get one. And people are going to jump on it, they're going to download it, and they're going to be hyped up once again, and I'm just hoping the game doesn't come out broken. I really do. I'm interested in it. But the reason why they keep doing this to these games is to maintain hype. And now, instead of having to pay a team of quality control testers, you are paying them to fix their damn game for them. It's a perfect scam.
Yep.
Give people the product and make them pay us for perfecting the product. And sometimes it doesn't even get perfected. They'll fix one or two things, but I don't think Assassin's Creed Unity is completely fixed. And I still think Batman Arkham Origins is still broken.
It is still broken. You're absolutely right. And it's going to stay broken because Warner Brothers ain't paying to get it fixed. I mean, Warner Brothers has basically said we're not spending any money on PC unless it's just enough that we know we're going to make a profit. So they're not gonna pay for Mortal Kombat XL for the PC. As a matter of fact, if you have a Linux or Mac-based OS, unless you use the Windows emulator for Mac systems, you ain't playing it on your Mac. Okay, you know they aren't releasing a Linux or Mac-based version of Arkham Knight, which really, considering how broken that game was on PC, you know, I mean, you know, Linux and Mac, which are more complicated and very different architectures than standard PC architecture, they ain't fixing that shit either. So, I mean, you know, this is what we get. This is what we get for listening and trusting these assholes.
But not only that, this is what happens when you, the gamer, which you hold all the power. Companies do things for one reason: your dollar, your money. If you stop giving in to the bullshit that they're trying, if you stop buying the shit they're trying to sell you, the bullshit they're trying to sell you, guess what? They'll stop producing bullshit. That's why I was really hoping, and this may sound bad to some fans out there, but I was really hoping that Destiny will flop. I want Destiny to flop. Here's why.
You gonna get some.
I wanted Destiny to flop. I don't care. This is my opinion. I didn't say this is factual. This is my opinion. You don't like it? Fuck you. That's how I really feel, because you don't have to like it. It's my opinion. I'm not saying this is fact. But moving on. I wanted it to flop because I want to serve as an example to these AAA publishers that become lazy. Hey, you can't just simply put out a game that's basically a carbon copy of the last game that we've been playing for the last 10 years or so, put a new coat of paint on it, change around the mechanics, and say it's a next-gen title when it does everything the same as the last-gen title. It does the same shit as 2 gens ago. Destiny no different than the first Halo game. It really isn't.
No. It's a Halo game with hoods.
Yeah, as Rachel Hawley put it, and shout out to him, by the way. But if you stop buying into it, guess what'll happen? They'll stop making it. But since you guys not only bought the game for $60 and bought each DLC pack for what was it, $20 or $40 for each pack, something around there, and then they ended up starting the whole thing over to like with a patch or something to where like, almost anybody can be good at Destiny now and level up quick. I forget what it is because I don't have the game, but you guys bought it. You give them another reason to try and fuck us over. So you can blame yourselves. Although you may enjoy Destiny, you know it could be better. The same way you guys always say, I want Nintendo to be better. How? You want Destiny to be the game that it was supposed to be? Then don't buy the next Destiny game. I don't have anything personally against Destiny. I just knew, to me, that game represented a greedy AAA publisher to the fullest extent. We're going to drop a bare bones game and call it a next-gen experience that plays exactly like a 2-gen-old experience, and we're going to spend the least amount of money on it. The most of the money for Destiny went into marketing the damn thing. That's it. Done. Marketing. That game is a bare bones shooter. I hate to say this. Splatoon has more content than Destiny, and it was free. Free. 8 months of content for free. That includes gear, weapons, and maps.
Yep.
Nintendo's
free.
like,
So after you spend $60 on Splatoon, you didn't have to do shit else but have internet.
Nintendo was just drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot.
Exactly. Every damn week there was something new. Every week. And yet Destiny, after paying $60 for the game, you have the nerve to try to charge me $20 to $40 for DLC. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but you got me fucked up. You really do. I'm not going to fall for that. But people have, and I won't say they're terrible gamers, because if you enjoy the game, more power to you. Hell, shout out to you. At least you're playing a game you enjoy. But if you want this AAA industry to stop messing you over, you have to start speaking with your wallet. Like, for example, I have almost every Call of Duty up to Black Ops 2. All right? Every single one, just about, except for maybe a couple. I think I don't have Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2, but I played them. So, when I saw that it wasn't going to change, because I told myself after Black Ops 2, and I said, hey, if the next Call of Duty does not have environmental destruction, because we've gotten about 10 so far without it, if they don't incorporate environmental destruction, I'm not going to buy the game. Now, you may say that, oh, they have it. No, that shit's scripted. I mean, I want environmental destruction that was actually done on a last-gen console. Who remembers Red Faction Guerrilla?
Yep. Black.
That game had the Geomod system. It had total environmental destruction. This is done on the Xbox 360.
PS2.
Speaking about that,
And you're right. And
down 3.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, so if this could be done on a third-person shooter, on the back on in the 7th gen, and it also done and the 6th gen.
Yep.
Why can't we do this in the 8th gen? So I said I made a clear statement, and I made it public. I'm not gonna buy it if you don't have it. And when they said during the E3 presentation that it didn't have it, I was completely done. I still love Call of Duty, still respect the franchise, much respect to it. I poured thousands of hours into it, but even I realized this shit's not going to change. They won't change until we force them to. So guess what? Advanced Warfare did not get a purchase from me. Black Ops 3 did not get a purchase from me. It's not going to happen.
You know what would make me buy Black Ops? What would make me buy Call of Duty is if it had a worthwhile single player, and if the multiplayer, like if they gave more control to players who want to play the multiplayer, because basically like the multiplayer is a little too wild west for me, and the single player.
For me. What about Splatoon?
When I say it's wild west, I don't think it's to the level of say a GTA Online, but it's definitely doesn't have like the single player in Call of Duty, in my opinion, has been like. Have you noticed that the single player campaigns have been getting shorter and shorter and shorter with each successive iteration? And shorter. Like you get less. I mean, they look great. They're hiring actors. I'm like, look, I'd rather have a 20-hour single player campaign with branching paths. But then again, I'm an old school gamer. Like my first console, first person shooter I played was GoldenEye. So. For me, like that's the standard. Like I need a good, strong single player multiplayer. Like that's what I need. And if I'm not getting that, then I'm not playing it. Like I'm just, that's okay. I don't need to play it. I'm all right.
And you know what? Now that you brought that up with the campaign, I thought it was extremely shitty and very, very fucked up that for the last gen versions they decided, well, those versions won't have a single player campaign. It's like they have had them for the last since you brought it, Call of Duty 3 to the Xbox 360. So now, what is your excuse for not having a single player mode in a new one when Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3? I'm like, please tell me why. Even Advanced Warfare. Tell me why you couldn't add a single player this time. Oh, you want to try to force people to get the newer versions, although the single player, I'm pretty sure, is still no more than 4 to 6 hours long. But
yeah, I mean,
you decided to cut content that's been there for a decade.
Yep.
But you know what? this kind of brings to a point that there was an interview not too long ago. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, maybe even a week ago, that someone interviewed Cliffy B and asked these kind of questions of where does he think that gaming will go, and he was basically saying it's going no, he was saying the game that he was making or creating right as we speak is a game that is heavily multiplayer focused, and basically saying that they were ditching away campaign mode. And I'm like, okay. And then they asked, well, what was the reason? And he basically said that he basically blamed on us gamers. And I'm like, wow, that is really laying it thick, man. Now I would admit to a certain degree it would probably be the gamers, but at the same time, you guys didn't muster a freaking effort to actually make those single player campaigns the go-to things. No, they became an afterthought.
And that's truly sad because I try to warn. I will continue to try to warn gamers out there because although you guys are the instrument of your own destruction when it comes to the gaming industry today, at the same time, I'm hoping you guys will eventually catch on. You may look at us as dinosaurs because of how we prefer to have in our games, how we prefer to play our games, but we're just trying to tell you that if you keep doing the shit you're doing, you keep supporting the shit you're supporting, gaming will be. It will be charged all the way around. We'll be paying for everything. We'll be paying for the right to buy a game.
You're fucking it up for everybody else, okay? And that's the translation.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you guys have supported this bullshit to the point we're paying for demos, people, demos. They used to buy a PS1 back in the day, and it came with a demo disc.
Yep.
Some of those were demo videos, but some of those are actually demo games. They actually had about a good 10 minutes or maybe an hour of gameplay in them. They even send you demo discs with the PlayStation Magazine and various other ones. Demos used to be free. And now you guys actually went out there based on hype and purchased a fucking demo. You can go into a store right now and play a demo for free. Best Buy don't charge you to walk in the store. You can walk into Best Buy right now and play a demo.
But have you noticed that, like, remember back in the day that they used to give us demos? Like, if you owned a PC, all games, almost like 85% of games had demos. Now, it's like very few games have demos. They're like, you got to buy this shit or else. And I'm like, well, what if your game is shit? Because they know their games have lost quality. They know their games are half-assed, and they're going to fix them after the fact. So they don't give you demos anymore.
That's why they hope for people to rely on the hype. That's why they hype their games up so much. It's because.
Oh, come on, Doctor. You're basically asking for people to get off their couch, get in the car, drive, or even walk to the store.
No. Honestly, what I'm asking, in all seriousness, what I am asking is I want people that when they are hyped for something, we all get hyped. I am still hyped for a lot of shit. I was hyped for Devil's Third, and I still end up buying the game. Even though people shitted on it, I want to play for myself to find out if it really is shitty. But moving on. But I want people, no matter how hyped you are for a game, I don't care if it's your favorite fucking franchise in the world. I don't care if it's that franchise that you don't care what they say about it, you're going to buy it. Stand back. Take 1 minute and think objectively. This is a demo. Should I be buying this? No. Because I can see. You say what?
Go ahead, Trip.
I was just gonna say, even if they're not buying it, it's they have to sign up.
Oh, Doc, Double M wants in.
Oh hell! If I let him in, it may not ever end. But hey, you know what? As I said, since this is an impromptu, when things kind of went off the rails in the beginning with the timing of this, and this being, the sexual weekend in the U.S., I guess I'll let you guys take out some of your frustration before you get some.
Happy Valentine's Day. Let's rev it up before the time comes to.
I mean, but seriously though, people, I'm not sure. Whatever you like to play, trust me, I'm not dogging you out. I could care less. If you enjoy it, please enjoy it on whatever platform. But please take a moment to sit back and think. Out of all the games you have purchased, out of all the DLC you have purchased, out of all the demos you have downloaded and played, out of all the practices you have supported, which ones do you think benefit you the most? Do you think it's fair that one company can charge you $60 for a game and that game have content that lasts for months, if not years? Or if a company sells your game for $60 and then turns around before the game's released and say, guess what? We got $100 worth of DLC you could buy today before the game comes out.
That sounds like
Yeah,
remember that game that came out where the developers were like, this game is built around the concept of DLC, and it bombed. It bombed spectacularly, and they're like, we can't believe people didn't buy this game. I'm like, look, for the first time, gamers were like, you know what? Fuck you, fuck you.
And you know what? That was probably the first time that gamers actually, even the narrow-minded gamers of today. No offense, but a lot of you are. But they actually stood together and they all said, you know what? I was hyped for this game, but that pricing model, that's bullshit. Because it was blatantly obvious. But what's happening is Ubisoft, EA, and the rest of them are getting very creative in how they offer you this shit. They really are. So instead of coming out blatantly and saying this game is based around DLC, they're saying buy the game now. We got a $40 DLC package coming next month. That's what they're doing. And people are like, well, okay, I guess they can finish in the time. No, bullshit. They finished it before they finished the game. They just took it out and thought that they sold it to you separately. You have to think about this. I grew up when let me just preface this with this. Nintendo 64 games and Super Nintendo games back in the day actually would cost about $80 to $90 in the store. Because they were cartridge based. Sometimes the cheapest price you find for the 64 game was about $60. That was the cheapest. But if it was like a really hot title or Nintendo title, believe me, it was about $79.99. I bought a couple of them. Trust me. Same thing for the Super Nintendo. I purchased games that were probably around $60 or $70. I remember distinctly for my Genesis, my grandmother walked into a Sears and purchased RoboCop vs. Terminator and Eternal Champions, brand new. She had to use two $100 bills to get them both.
Jesus Christ.
And she didn't get much change back. Those games were pushing for around $80 a piece. Now I'm pretty sure Sears put a little bit of money in there for themselves, but you get my point. Games today are actually cheaper than they used to be. Technically.
Yep.
But people today are really thinking that, well, that $60 should only give me half a game. I'm willing to buy the rest. Bullshit. If I go to the store and buy a blender, you're not gonna turn around and tell me to go buy the blades.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. If I walk into a store and buy a computer for $500, don't turn around and tell me that, oh, you gotta buy Windows, you gotta buy your CPU, you gotta buy your GPU, you gotta buy all this shit separately.
But I mean, basically, gamers now.
Am I buying a computer? Or am I buying a damn tower shell? Because
gamers.
I'm expecting everything in one package. But
gamers now are so used to getting fucked up the ass that they're just like, they'll accept it. They're like, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll buy half a game. And then wait. I mean, you wouldn't buy a car, and they're like, oh, well, this car can only go 30 miles per hour because half of the engine, half of the gears are missing. So, like, you got to come back later on, and we'll put it in there for another $10,000. You wouldn't accept that. You wouldn't accept the refrigerator. You bought a new refrigerator, and the freezer don't work. We got to put in the pieces to make the freezer work, but we ain't got them right now. Come back later. We'll go to your house and we'll put it in there for another $5,000.
I'm going to use a really, really vulgar example. And if you're under 18, you probably don't want to hear this, but here it goes. Since this is Valentine's Day weekend, and we all know the focus of this weekend, at least in here in the U.S.
And other parts of the-
Let's say you have money in your pocket, and you see a stripper, right? Now we know what her job is. Her job is to earn your money, right? So let's say you give this stripper $500, and she's completely clothed, and then she turns around and she has no titties. Now, are you going to splurge for the titties? Knowing that, and let's keep in mind that she really is a woman. You were expecting, when you bought this, you were told that you would get the full-fledged experience, right? You're going to get tits, you're going to get ass, you're going to get some nice provocative dancing, lap dance. What if she took off her top and there were no titties there, and she says, you know what? But I can have them, put on to me for $10,000. Are you going to then go and have them put on? Of course not.
Hell to the no.
You're not going to do that. If you were paying for a stripper and she turned around, or she revealed herself and there was no ass there at all, and all you saw was a damn torso and no legs, would you still want to pay full price for that? Would you let her tell you that, you know what, I can get some titanium legs for $500? You got that? No.
I'm like, bitch, do I look like Wolverine? Does this look like X-Men?
I'm just saying that. I hate to use that example, but it's like people are selling you half, if not even, sometimes not even half, but generally speaking, they're selling you half an experience for full price. Would you buy a laptop without a monitor on it?
You know what, Dr. Feelgood? When you stayed at the top, I had my mind. You know what? You were born bred as a lady with the right plumbings down there. So if you were flat chest, I wouldn't mind. Just tell me straight up before I pay you, okay?
Well, see, that's the point. They don't tell you straight up. What they do is they tell you a game is coming out. They tell you it's going to be a next-gen experience. They tell you that it's visually impressive and stunning. They tell you that it's only going to be on a PS4 or Xbox One. And then they tell you before release day,
that if you want the full experience.
There's some more content. There's some DLC. It's going to cost you $20.
No. They sell you the full experience, and then when the time comes, then they tell you that the full experience is extra. It's like it's like a car advertisement. The car will brag that it's got aircon. It will brag that it's got aircon, that it's got heated seats and all of this nonsense, parking sensors and stuff. But because they don't say as standard. So when you actually go to get that car now, you realize, oh, the aircon's extra, the heated seats are extra, the parking sensors are extra, the sat nav's extra.
And see that's what I'm getting to. See, gamers are not reading the fine print, and just like you mentioned the car commercials, when you see a car commercial, they're showing you typically a top of the line model with all the bells and whistles. But if you look at the small text on the bottom, it will say features not standard. It's a model as shown, $50,000. Base price is $30,000.
You can at least give it to the car adverts, because if stuff is as standard, they will say in the advert that it's as standard.
True. Yeah, but shouldn't a game being able to be played from point A to point B and not you fall through the floor be standard? Like, should a game being playable be like, is that a bonus or should that be the standard?
I'm not saying it's usable. I'm just saying at least with the car advertisements, they let you know what's what. I mean, you look at the situation with Splatoon. Nintendo let you know from the get-go the full content isn't there. We're gonna dish it out down the line. I was cool with that. You let me know what I want. You know, I buy the game, and you know what? You provided me with more content than I was ever expecting. You know. But the other companies do it though. They just tell you, yeah, it's gonna have the full experience, and then last minute, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for that full experience. Whereas, you know, all that stuff that Nintendo said they were gonna promise for Splatoon, I paid £0 and 0 pence additional for it. I paid the price of the game, and the content just kept coming.
And see, that's my point. Gamers are not sitting back and thinking to themselves, I've already paid $60 for this game. Why are you charging me for the rest of the content, which I know you finished? More than likely you finished before the game was even released. More than likely it was already in the game. You decided to lock it up or take it out and sell it to me separately. Ask yourself that. Like, for example, the
Come
Battlefront.
on. Sorry, with Splatoon, I'm just going to say something. With Splatoon, you got more free maps over the course of the months than you get from some of these season passes that you pay half the price of the game for.
Now, you being a dick just now. You really being a serious
Yeah,
dick.
I'm just stating the truth.
But you know what I've heard a lot of people say, and these are the true fans. I played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I have not played the original Battlefront, but I know people who did. But people have told me that the older games had way more content, way more modes, campaign, everything. They were just better. And they say this new experience is garbage. But you got the hype fans that just went and saw the movie, had to have the game, and they're totally happy with it because they have no idea that
If they're
the
basing
game
their
actually was
standard,
twice as good, if not 3 times better, way back in the day. So what happened?
The reality is, if you're basing your experience of a Star Wars game based on the most recent movie, then you don't really know shit about Star Wars. Let's just be honest. You don't really know shit about Star Wars. If you're basing your experience of the game based on the Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, then you really don't know shit about Star Wars. So you've got more problems than just gaming there.
But that's the problem. See, they're selling things off hype. They're doing this. They're doing certain things to keep the hype going. That's why they have alphas and betas, and they're charging for demos now. And they tell you that if you buy one of our older games, or if you buy a game that's about to come out, we'll give you a demo or access to a demo for a game that's coming out 3 years from now. It's like, well, hold on. I'm not going to pay for shit that's going to come out 3 years from now. Like, why would I pay for that now? And people say, well, it comes with it free. It's like, yeah, but I don't want to play some shit that's not finished.
Well, I mean,
Like-
in a sense, I guess I could kind of see this coming, because when you think about it, it's kind of all started with the whole beta testing things, and it's just like, before, when you get a demo, even if it was like, you just get a demo of something, and a lot of times those demos could go online. Like Unreal Tournament 2004, you can get a free demo and you can go online with it. Whereas now, before they started, doing this whole charging for the demo thing, now you was having to sign up for these demos that they called beta tests, which in all honesty, I don't know what they were beta testing, because when the real game comes out, it's almost no different, just the extra modes. But these games that they quote unquote beta, they quote unquote let you beta test, really and truly, they glorified demos, and I guess getting you to sign up for it was just their way of warming you up to what was later coming. I guess basically I'm kind of saying the signs were kind of already there in a way.
Yeah, but to me, it's just really taking a downturn, and I hope this is continue. Although I know it's going to, because I hate to say this, that although publishers are the ones causing the bad quality of games we're receiving, the real ultimate culprit, no disrespect, but if you feel offended, disrespected, I don't give a damn. It is your choice to feel that way. I didn't make you feel that way. You chose to feel that way. But moving on, the casual gamer. I say that because
casual.
Now, here's why I say that. I say it's a casual game because casual gamers are the ones that are hype. Casual gamers are the ones that are going out there buying something based solely on hype. Most dedicated fans of a certain franchise or series, I can say, in my opinion, I think some of those have some common sense. And they may look at something and they're not getting any good news about it, they kind of hold off on it. Like some of us here, we've had a game that we know is coming out, and I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat. And although I was on a Mortal Kombat wagon, I've seen that first trailer with Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, I was like, I'm going to get this game.
I was hyped.
But when I started hearing shit about it, about the DLC plans for it, about how they're going to lock Goro behind, a DLC wall, you have to reserve the game or however you get it, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a step back. And I said, okay, I will get the 360 version because I don't have to deal with the damn installs and shit like that. And then they canceled those versions. So I was like, so now I'm not going to buy this game. My wife wants it, so I will be getting the Xbox One probably the next month and getting that game, of course. But my plan was actually get the 360 version. But after they canceled it, I said, well, I don't want it. I really don't want it. At that point, I was done with it.
Feel bad.
That's simple. I made a decision. Nope. as much as I'm a big fan, I have almost every Mortal Kombat. I bought the first, bought the second, bought the third, have the ultimates, trust me, I have almost all of them. And some of them I even have in a damn steel case for like the PlayStation 2, and trust me, I got them. Some of them haven't even been open yet.
But I'm going to bounce now. It was fun hanging out with you guys for this little bit of time, but peace out, y'all.
All right, go get some, man. Get bitches, man.
Hey, Netflix and chill, baby. Netflix and chill.
No,
And get that final reward.
No, check it out.
Final reward.
Hey, keyword Netflix, as in a flick, maybe. That's what we call that. That's what we call porn back in the day for those new age people.
Perhaps.
Or net chicks.
Don't know about that one.
But anyway, it's like I love and respect Mortal Kombat, but how they did that game, I did not support it, and I was not going to support it. In fact, when I do support it, it's probably going to be used, or if it is new, it's going to be about $20. So they did not get $60 plus $40 for DLC from me. That's just not going to happen. You can call me a fanboy all you want. You can
just wait for the Ultimate Edition or whatever they're gonna call it. With
exactly.
All the DLC that people paid how much for coming in a small like what Destiny did. That was hard. And that was like another £60 worth of DLC for a £50 game, and then they just bundled it as a £50 game in the end. So all those people who paid for all that DLC paid a ton of money, and my friend got burned by it as well.
And see, that's what gets to me about that. It's like we're not thinking. Gamers are not thinking. The casual gamers are the ones out there. And I'm not saying it's just casual gamers. I'm saying, but from what I have seen, from my eyes, from what I've read and seen in person and online, these people are the loudest ones. Are the ones to me are casual gamers. They do the most bitching about getting the franchise back, yet they never bought the originals. They bitch the most about something lacking features, yet the game they're playing doesn't have any features either. They're the ones that go out and buy a game and only play one of the most, and it has 10. Yeah, so to me, it's like you guys are the ones giving these people money, and they're not looking at you and what you want and what you like. They're looking at, man, we just sold a piece of shit to a gamer. Let's do it again.
It's not even just with video games. That's the thing. Like the way I look at it now, I kind of look at things from a very broad perspective now, and it's just like the thing with video games is just a symptom. It's just that people can't define their worth unless it's based on what you have. It's a whole keeping up with the Joneses thing. I mean, you look at someone will go just because someone will have a perfectly good working iPhone 5. Just because they see someone with an iPhone 6, now they want the iPhone 6. What was so different between your iPhone 5 to your iPhone 6? And then you have all these arguments about Samsung versus Apple and all this kind of stuff. And these phones essentially do the same thing.
Exactly. And like even with that example, my wife, she's a Samsung fan. I'm an HTC fan. I don't subscribe to any one. But I don't subscribe to any one phone brand. HTC is my preference. It's like Nintendo is my preference, but that's not all I use. In fact, my first phone ever was a BlackBerry. However, but my wife has seen the flaws over the years with Samsung phones, that they're lacking the basic, necessary features that a phone should have, like a customizable dictionary. Is it like she's seeing that, like she's like, okay, I just got this phone. This is the newest phone they have, the Note Edge. I'm sorry, the S6 Edge Plus or whatever, and it doesn't have a customizable dictionary. You can't personalize it. She's had every single note up until like the Note 4. Didn't have a customizable dictionary. And she's like, what the hell? My HTC had this shit 5 years ago. I'm like, exactly. To me, HTC is like Nintendo. They handle the basics first. They don't try to sell you with a bunch of, oh, guess what? When you look away from the phone, the video stops. Who gives a shit? If I'm not looking at my phone, I'm probably going to pause the video anyway. It's like, but... That's what
in all honesty, that's a feature I actually don't like about HTC. But that's just my preference, because we know what it is. I came from using the BlackBerry Q5, which was BBOS 10, and for me, like, because I was a long time BlackBerry user until my BlackBerry broke and I had to buy a HTC. But for me, the OS 10 was the most functional of the operating systems. I mean, all my emails and my WhatsApp messages and text and all that kind of stuff was all in one place. I think the internet access on it was faster. it was just, and it was more organized. I could see all my open apps and stuff like that without having to go somewhere else. Everything was just, for me, everything was just easy accessible, and the fact that you had the combined use of the keypad with the screen as well. So for me, I preferred the OS 10 for its functionality, and then getting used to, and it's only coming to Android now. I realized where there are a lot of issues with Android. I said to myself, wow, this really is a hype, because I can name a ton of issues right here that the BlackBerry OS 10 didn't have, but you know, everyone's raving about the Android phones.
And I know people that buy these $600 and $700 phones, and I would tell them, they ask me, they see me do something on my phone. They say, "How do you do that?" I'm like, "Just go download the app." An app? How do I do that? So let me get this straight, person. Let me get this shit straight. You just actually purchased a $700 device, a smartphone that can do just as much shit than your PC can, and yet all you do on it is text and make calls and perhaps browse Facebook. You could have done that with a free to upgrade phone for $50.
Mm-hmm.
But you mean to tell me you bought a $700 phone for that? They bought it for the hype. My wife and I have actually been in a retail store before, and she had a Galaxy Note 3, I think, at the time. And she passed by, you know, the cell phone, you know, kiosk or whatever, and the person's like, you know, "Do you want to upgrade?" And then my wife actually, because my wife, she actually does research, you know, she got that from me. She does a lot of research on phones now. She would literally compare the old feature of old version versus the new one, because like, I've opened her eyes to the bullshit of hype.
Yeah.
And so she actually asked the guy, "So what's new about it?" And the guy's only response was, "Everything." And so my wife says, "All right, do you care to show me that?" And so all he did was the same shit she was doing. She said, "So basically all I saw this phone has is the S Pen goes in a different way now, and the fact that you have a few more templates for the S Pen feature, but otherwise the phone is exactly the same, except instead of having a 12 megapixel camera, you got a 16 megapixel." She said, "I don't think that's really worth me upgrading for a few $100s."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the same way, but it's like this guy's only thing was, his only response was, "What's new about it? Everything."
That's
I
balls.
highly doubt that, because unless you're making phone calls in a whole new way, buddy, I don't think everything is new about this phone. I really don't. You still text the same way. You still make calls the same way. You still watch videos the same way. You still browse websites the same fucking way. There is no difference. This shit is being sold on hype alone. It just has a newer, shinier screen, and now it has a fucking curve on the side. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a screen. But I'm not sure anyone that owns the Galaxy line. I think they're great phones. But
Bless
back
you.
to gaming, this is what's happening. They're building hype machines, and they're selling you hype products. And very few of these products have actually even lived up to the hype, even going back to the beginning of the generation, when they had the opportunity, the grand opportunity, to show us what they can really do. They may not know the hardware as much as they know it now, but at least show us what we can expect. And is it me, or has it gotten worse as the generation has gone on? At least with those two consoles.
It's gotten worse. It's gotten worse, because now it almost seems as if the bad practices are becoming standard now. It's like, and I'm not even saying standard by industry standards. I'm just saying, like, I think we've accepted so much crap that even the people that are buying and playing these games are just giving these companies a pass, which is sad, because now they're throwing all that shade at Nintendo. Because they're not giving them certain features that they want. But then you ain't giving shade at the companies that are giving you these broken games. You're complaining about voice chat and crap like that, but your game's broken. I'd rather play a game that's not broken than a game with voice chat.
You know, I saw a vid earlier, and the person the person on the vid basically said that what he is seeing that's currently happening is like, it's like what has happened back in the 80s with the whole Atari debacle.
You know what? I can see that. I actually agree with that, because honestly, quality is now completely out the window. All they do now is make shit look good with shit underneath. Like they it's like basically they give you a pretty ad. They give you that apple from basically Sleeping Beauty. It looks good as hell to eat, but underneath is death. Because when I think about the games, and Let me tell you, I don't have an Xbox One. I don't have a PS4, but I got almost every fucking thing else before them. So, and I have a Wii U this generation thus far. The only reason I don't have the other two because I chose not to get them, not because money's an issue, believe me. But I have not seen anything impressive about these systems. Each one does have a couple of exclusives that I want, but I see a problem with quality with these systems. Almost every game has had not a small glitch or flaw. Every game has a small glitch or flaw that you can find if you look hard enough. But I'm seeing major shit. Either the game is horribly incomplete, either the game is horribly broken, has horrible DLC pricing or packaging. It's one of those three things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, why are we buying this?
Because people want shit to be told to them. They don't want to do their own research for themselves at the end of the day. You know, we become a lazy society where we think that our point of view is insignificant. What are they saying about it? And I'm like, who is they? Who are these they? Are they not human beings with opinions like you yourself? Like, can you not find a way to form your own opinion about something instead of being lazy and going with what you think is trendy? Because you're not only making yourself look stupid as a gamer, you make yourself look stupid as a human being. Because you are in no way even going, you are in no way going on humane. A humane person has their own mind. You know, there was a saying in the old BioShock game, a man chooses, a slave obeys. You know, if you're just obeying what people are telling you, well, guess what, my brother, you is a slave. You know.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say every human being within their own right mind should find a way to make a conscious decision about what they're doing, because what you're doing affects your life at the end of the day. So, you know, if you can't even do that with something as simple as video games, then what are you really doing with your life, and how are you perceiving life in general? That's what I say. To me, this is getting way beyond that of gaming in terms of the issues.
Going through the motions.
Anybody else got anything to say about this particular topic? Because we have a few questions and comments.
Well, I don't have anything to say in this topic per se, but there has been a little news, and by news I mean rumor, that Fire Emblem Fates Western version has some swimsuits removed. Keyword, rumor, which no confirmation yet. So I'm just sitting back and see how this is going to pan out.
You know, people has rewritten the dictionary. You know, rumor now means, oh, it's got to be fact.
Shut up, man. You
really think, even rumor or not, you really think a few swimsuits being removed from the Western version will stop me from buying the game if I really wanted it? Like, it's not that deep. It really is not that deep. Anyone who sees it as anything that deep, then boy, I question your motives for buying games in the first place.
Wow. All right. What about you, Kenoshi? Anything you got to say?
I think, just like KH Anime said, you know, people look at these rumors and they're like, oh, this must be true. For instance, the NX, you know, the console that everybody loves to think that it's going to, save them. You know, going to.
Everyone's treating the NX like it's Jesus, fam. It's like you're coming to Jesus.
Yeah, it's like I hope.
It doesn't help that Nintendo.
I kind of hope the NX comes out to be something.
A patch.
Yeah, like a patch or something. Like a big software patch. That's it. Or just something just completely, just a lone note. I just really hope it's something just. Because it'll just be hilarious to see the reaction.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any other topics you guys want to bring up at all?
I just want to say that, you know, I just want to say that for this Valentine's Day, I made sure that my lady was blinged out.
What the hell?
And that's what I call treating a lady.
All right, moving on. I want to hear about you going to do your little doll over there, man. But anyway,
Hey, don't be dissing the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. She'll come and cap your head off, mate.
well, we got a comment here from I think it's Shadow Hero 43. Shout out to him, by the way. He says, shout out to the Kingdom Hearts community for being sluts.
No, Shadow Hero. Oh my God.
What did he say? Sorry, I didn't hear
He
that.
said, shout out to the Kingdom Hearts community for being sluts, accepting the Kingdom Hearts 2.8, the final chapter prologue, a demo of Kingdom Hearts 3, an HD remake from a 3DS game, and a movie from the mobile game. Oh my gosh.
Wow, that they are sluts.
You are so wrong with that, man.
No, he's absolutely right. That's the worst part. He's not even wrong.
Okay, Anderson Archilla, shout out to him. He says, anyone interested in Hyrule Warriors Legends, or is there no room for more that Kokaido at the moment, especially portable?
No, I'd be interested in it.
Yeah, I'm still gonna get it. I mean, I do hope, and I could be clueless. It may actually be happening, but I do hope that we get those same characters on the Wii U version.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Did he meant to say cocaine?
Probably. I'm not sure.
Oh my.
Well, let's just assume he meant to say cocaine. We could be totally wrong, but we don't promote drugs on this podcast. Not saying he was, but you know, you think about some of the gamers out here, they must be on some type of drug.
Wait. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm not talking about like the games you like to play. I mean, like, you must be on some shit to buy some incomplete, broken bullshit every year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tell you on, man. I hope I never find out what it is.
Neither do I.
I would say about Hyrule Warriors Legends. I'm not really hyped for it because I already have a version of it that's in my eye. It's the Wii U version.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And then Shadow Hero, I think it's Shadow Hero. He also says, let me select it here, that, oh, this is Anderson Archilla, sorry about that. For a while, it seemed as if Mortal Kombat X wouldn't get a definitive edition until now. Still, is anyone worried the third-party publisher will eventually stop making those to force people to buy the DLC with no other option? It's actually a very good question.
Repeat the question again for me. Let me just get it.
He said, for a while, it seems as if the Mortal Kombat X wouldn't get a definitive edition until now. Still, is anyone worried that the third-party publisher will eventually stop making those to force people to buy the DLC with no other option?
No way. Yeah. They definitely want those.
No, because you know what it is? The DLC stops selling after a while, so, you know, because people just ain't generally interested. These games don't have a long lifespan on the shelf. Like, you know, the hype for them dies down and nobody really buys the game anymore. So to generate hype and to make it seem like you're getting value for your money, they give you this a collector's edition to remind you, oh yeah, that game still exists.
Double dipping, which is not allowed in actual restaurants. But anyway, but
yeah, so I just think it's I see the picture, Konami.
Yeah,
You're just mean.
Seriously, dude. Seriously.
You're just mean. You're actually mean.
Kids don't do drugs.
Moving on.
But yeah, actually, before we move on, I just want to ask this: are they is NetherRealm Studios actually going to make a PC version out of it?
Well, I did hear that they're not going to do. I forget they call it it's some DLC or something that they're not going to do for the PC that they promised they were going to do in the beginning.
I thought that was for the extra large edition. I mean XL edition. Sorry, X limited edition.
What he meant to say was the extra rip-off edition.
You know, I heard now that the PC they're not going to get the XL. I could be wrong, but that's what I've been hearing.
Yeah, yes, the limited edition. There's not going to be a PC version for the limited edition.
Well, hey, it sucks, but hey, PC Master Race.
PC Master Race.
You can't be a master race. You don't have access to all the content. But moving on, no, I like I say, I respect all gamers out there, but quit throwing that PC master race shit around.
Yeah, I'm a PC gamer. I'm a PC gamer and I can't even stand it.
Next question by Shadow Hero 43 once again. To me, the more details it has this is in regards to the whole geared towards adults. He says, to me, the more details it has in regards to violence, sex, etc., the more it's geared to adults. For instance, who here has played Dead Space 2? Remember that surgery scene?
I haven't played it.
I haven't played it.
But that one I did. Thank God, thank the gracious that I've missed it.
You gotta go like that, man. Damn, be more sensitive to Dead Space 2.
Because it had a horror. Be more sensitive to Dead Space 2 because it had a horrible follow-up called Dead Space 3.
Oh, this is actually a very good question here from Anderson Archilla. Is there a game to play for Valentine's Day and President's Day? All that comes to mind is codename Steam with inventor of the choke slam Abe Lincoln for the latter, while most other games out there kill relationships. Very good question and a very good point.
In this feminist society, play Metroid. you can't go wrong. Play Metroid. That's an independent woman.
What he's saying.
That's an independent woman who's a bounty hunter and she's doing her thing and no man can say nothing to her. Love me, baby.
That's a good one. But I was thinking of another game. Okay, it might have. It's not released this year. Actually, 2 years ago, and it actually have a princess that's really playable. Yeah, knock on wood, SJWs, but I would say Mario 3D World.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just make sure you're not with no feminist woman, because then she might try and tell you that thingy, what's it called? That Peach's skirt is too high and it's not representing women very well.
Oh, stop.
Well, we got a Splatoon question here, right up my damn alley.
Oh, no.
And this is from Renegade Zero. Shout out to you, by the way. Thank you for submitting your question, man. In Splatoon Online, has anyone here experienced players moving around and not doing anything, and then you come to find out at the end of the match, in the results screen, you see 1 or 2 players with only 40 points to 81 points? Trolls, I tell you.
Yep. It's happening.
Don't get me started on them.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've actually caught them around on the map doing that, where they, instead of letting themselves time out after a minute, because it does after like 60 seconds, what they'll do is they'll move around just enough without painting any turf. And then you look at the end of the match, and I've actually won a match like that before, barely, but that person only had 300 points. That means all he got was the points for the win. He didn't put down a single drop of paint. So he was just there just riding along to get a win, but I'm pretty sure he was there to sabotage us. But it happens more and more often now.
Yeah, it does. Especially when they be all they do is run around. They keep going from kid to squid.
I wish I had one of them old school Game Genie kind of things. Just attach that to the gamepad and just put on a switch that could say friendly fire in Splatoon, and that's what I'll do to them.
Oh man, here's another question from Anderson Archilla, also a very good one. Do you think there's a cure for the severe mental conditioning that has affected the gaming climate? Lots of people who complain about getting screwed over and over, but still open the cheeks every single time.
Mr. T, butthurt cream.
I got a good one here. Okay. To the people that say Nintendo is also screwing gamers over, okay, I'll give you that, I'll indulge in that saying. Let's say all the companies are screwing gamers over. Guess what? I'm still seeing on your technically third party side that you guys are getting screwed over without even lubricant. While where I am or going to be, whether I buy a console or not, with Nintendo, even though I get screwed over, at least Nintendo was nice enough to put some lubricants.
Okay.
Yes,
Anybody else on this controversial and very vulgar question?
Now, I would have to go that way because it seems like you guys want to go the extreme route. Okay, let me put that as well.
Okay, I'm not going to be as extreme as Triple M, but you know, because I'm the double M, I only got 2. In fact, you know, I'm not even double M right now. I'm Alpha Disciple. You know, but yeah, is there a cure? Boy, that's a good question. I mean, like, put it like this: a lot of these gamers really need to see a counselor. That's what they need. They need a counselor. They're like, you know. I'll do counseling sessions over Google Hangout if you wire some money to my account. I'm just putting it out there to all the gamers who need serious counseling right now.
Well, the problem is this goes way deeper than gaming. You know, this whole YouTube stuff is just an outlet for people to vent their frustrations. You know, these people, like I was talking about in another podcast last night. I was saying that, you know, a lot of these fanboys, a lot of these people get very sensitive about these video games. You know, this is video games. Probably for the longest time have been the only consistent thing in their life. You know, they probably grew up in broken homes. You know, probably had problems with various women in their life. Who know, just problems with various people in their life, and video games were always there, always hooked up to the TV. The TV was there for them.
And then video games like Call of Duty come on the advertisements, basically singing to you a Mulan song. Mr. I'll make a man out of you if you buy my DLC.
I should do that. I should find the song. I should find that song and put that to various Call of Duty videos. That's so funny.
I just want to say this. Remember what Shadow Fox Infinite said some podcast back? Cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Shout out to him, by the way. You bastard! You were supposed to be here last time. You better be here next time.
What's a Shadowcast?
Here's another question for Anderson Archella. You think people will realize we're not in the 6th gen anymore and stop giving the likes of Ubisoft, EA, etc. a lot of leeway, or will this keep going until a few of them collapse? It's gonna keep going, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Because they've learned and to accept, mediocre games that are very shallow and just simply look good. Like they become gamers that only want something that looks good and lasts them a short time. So basically, they're minute men and women.
Oh snap! But now I'm seeing it. Cocaine plus Nintendo equals cocaine, though.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to answer that question? Basically, would a gaming industry or the atmosphere change, or will it keep going the way it's going right now?
I think it's going to remain the same. The only time it change is, I hate to say it, if Sony and Microsoft release the hardware, that's the only way it'll be able to change.
It's gonna
get worse and worse from here on out.
I'm just gonna give a nice intricate little theory of where I think this gaming industry is going. Based on Microsoft's actions, they're looking to, like, we all know that funding's been cut from the Xbox division. Based on Microsoft's actions, they are more than they're probably trying to make sure they just dominate in America for this generation, and then they're gonna move all their assets over to PC. I think Windows 10 is going to be the new Xbox platform.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes, totally yes.
And here's a question from
and then
Yao.
I haven't finished yet.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's alright. And then Sony, with the rate Sony's going, they're either gonna drop out or move on to a streaming game kind of service. Because right now Sony's in bad shape. They're in very, very bad shape. Like it's going to be hard for them. It's going to be hard for shareholders to look at how much money PlayStation has bled over the 20 years it's been around. and want them to continue. Like Sony's gonna have to pull a miracle if they still want to be around. Personally, I wouldn't mind if Sony stays around and Microsoft goes, because in all honesty, Microsoft has the least to lose here, and they haven't really contributed much to the gaming industry properly. Whereas Sony, I think that because Sony's reactionary, so I think if Sony's the one left behind to go against Nintendo, they will more react to the practices that Nintendo are going along with, and we'll have a more balanced generation if that's the case. But if both of them go, but then potentially both of them could go, because right now it looks like the PlayStation is becoming the next Dreamcast, and Nintendo was the only one surviving. Well, I don't know what will happen to the gaming industry overall from that point. I know Nintendo will find a way. I know Nintendo will make it prosper as they always do. But I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be laughing my ass off at the past 2 generations. I'm actually going to be laughing my ass off at the past 2 generations. I'm going to be going through all of the history, all of the nonsense, all of the crap that was said, and just laugh at it. Laugh at all of it.
Speaking about Sega Dreamcast.
No, you not.
Both
You know what? You go ahead, because go right the fuck ahead.
Well, that was just it. The 2 seconds of silence before you made such a loud remark. But anyway, I did want to say this about when Event Status said something about the revival of the Sega Dreamcast, and when he said that, okay, in his word, and I can't quote it exactly the way you said it, but here goes. Okay, I bring out good news. No, of all the times that I'm bringing out bad news, you guys will give me flack for it. Now that I'm bringing out the good news, hashtag Dreamcast 2, then you guys are still bashing me, and I'm like, okay, all right. To the people that are actually bashing Event Status for saying this is a good news, you guys shut the bloody hell up. If you guys want to criticizing, because in actuality it is some sort of good news, but I would say, why not just criticize, or at least bring some to the notion that this might not ever become a reality?
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as this. If I say $100,000 is going to fall from the sky and into everyone's hand across the globe, that's good news, isn't it? Doesn't make it true. You go outside the sky and see if any money drops down into your hands. It's still good news. So I'm good to hear, but boy, does it make it true? No.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, at least I wish Event would have said this. Happy for it, but still looking at the reality and tempered my hype that this might probably not come to fruition.
It's not probably. I don't think it's coming to fruition at all. Sega can't even resurrect Sonic. They can't even resurrect a franchise, let alone try and resurrect a console.
We won't discuss that right now. That will be a whole different podcast in and of itself.
You know what?
Question.
You know what? I wanted to change my avatar to a more Sonic Team based, but since this wonderful cast was up and running before I even realized, thanks to you, host, you bastard, that is going to be here at the time.
Whoa, man, attacking the host, jeez.
Well, here's another question up here from Yin and Yao, and his question is actually a very good one. Have you had a game that felt like it was out of its element? For me, it was with Baldur's Gate for the PS2. It felt more like a beat 'em up than an RPG.
Mm-hmm. For me, BioShock Infinite, like they Call of Duty-fied it.
Yeah, that game's safe. That game is.
Like they played.
Hold on. What kind of insult is that? He says, "Yeah, that game is safe."
No, I understand what he's saying. They played it too safe with it. That they like the first BioShock that came. I haven't really played through the second one, but the first BioShock that came out, they tried all different types of elements and stuff like that. And to me, it almost like the way it was designed. It was almost designed like a Metroid game, but obviously a much more simplified version. But I like that though. You know, it was a company that was trying something different, a different concept, and you had this living, breathing world where even if you stayed in a room for too long, guaranteed some enemies are going to come around. You know, and then you can customize your own weapons and things like that, find different types of material, all these kind of things.
Well, what
And
Bioshock,
there was much more, and the game was much more atmospheric as well.
what Bioshock was a stripped down Metroid and System Shock game made for a wider audience, and the game was great. The game was great for what it was.
Then they brought out Bioshock Infinite, and the only part they copied from Metroid, which I'm not saying they should copy from Metroid, but the only part that was really akin to Metroid was the bit where you go on the grind rails, which they said themselves they got from Metroid.
You know,
But it was like a Call of Duty experience. Like, you know, you could only hold two weapons at a time, like Call of Duty. You went from checkpoint to checkpoint, like Call of Duty. You know, you couldn't go back to certain areas or whatever and stuff like that. You know, it was so restricted to what Bioshock originally was.
Yeah, that's what I liked about the first Bioshock. You were truly a one-man army. You had this artillery at your disposal at any point. You had these rockets. You had a shotgun. You had the machine gun.
but you know what? All that shit meant nothing when a Big Daddy walked in the room.
You better have some good ass plasmids if you want to take on the big. You know what I used to do?
I don't give a shit what you were packing. I don't care if you had all the best weapons. When Big Daddy walked in, you still had your spine still jumped out of your throat like.
No,
I gotta deal with him.
There was one weapon that tore the Big Daddy apart in seconds, and that was the chemical thrower gun on electricity mode. You get that on a Big Daddy, that's that. Oh my gosh, that. When I got that weapon.
It had certain horror elements. Like there were times where you would have limited ammo. Like there were limited ammo drops or limited health drops. So you had to also deal with that. So it was. It had its flaws, but it was certainly an interesting game for its time.
Yeah, and another thing about the game is that, and I remember when I read like a long, like 6 or 7 page review about this game. I think it was in GamePro magazine or something. I forget what it was, but I read multiple ones, but they went so in depth with the review, and they were talking about how that world felt so real and so dangerous, and they say just the theme of it and just the whole atmosphere, you felt like you were actually there. They said like when a Big Daddy walked in the room and he hadn't noticed you yet, like you were really like stop breathing yourself because you did not want to be seen.
That was almost like an SAX coming from into the room from Metroid Fusion.
Like they were just always talking about like how the amount of detail they put into that game to make you feel like that room was actually real. Like they didn't just put a mirror in a room and then like no reflection on it. It's like it just felt like an actual natural environment that was just get in there and get the hell out because someone's gonna show up.
It had a lot more character to it.
Exactly, and
you could tell there was more thought put into it. Whereas Bioshock Infinite, I'm sorry, Columbia is no Rapture. And in all honesty, I found some aspects of Bioshock Infinite quite racist, to be honest.
Well, that's kind of what they were going for. That's what they were going. That was based off 1912. During the time of racism. That was why they were portraying. Rapture. Columbia was the leader of Columbia was a very racist guy. Believed that America was like the one true place that the white race. That was the whole purpose of the story.
Well, we have one final question here before we close it off, and this was actually pretty damn funny. But I hope you guys are ready to laugh.
Go on, I'm ready.
This comes from Renegade Zero. Do you guys think the NX would be a waffle iron?
Part of me kind of hopes it is, because that'd just be hilarious.
If they did come out with it and they said it was a waffle iron, I would laugh so hard.
I'm gonna make that the question of this whole podcast, man. In a very trollish way, because I'm sorry, that's too damn funny.
That is brilliant. Can you imagine though if Nintendo came out with the NX, is like this E3 2016, Reggie's on saying we are going to reveal to you the push in Nintendo's technology. This is about not just gaming, but quality of life. Introducing the new Nintendo NX Waffle Iron.
Oh my God.
Put any one of our popular IPs on the face of your waffle.
Yeah, like it plays you put the games in, you're playing the games, and then it's baking the waffles in the shape of the game, in like the scene of the game you're playing. You press a button and it bakes the waffles in the scene of the game you're playing. In fact, in actuality, that would be actually quite sick. Can you imagine? You're playing the Super Mario 3D World level, and then you decide to say you want to you want to screen. You decide to get a screenshot and say you want that printed on your waffles, and you get that printed on your waffles.
But you know what?
But that would, let's be honest, that would be pretty dope. And you can still play the games as well. Like, I'll take that over features any day. Fuck voice chat.
If that was it, I think most of my waffles would burn though while I'm playing the game. So I wouldn't take time out to check them.
You know what? It's funny that you mentioned that because I pictured in my head maybe this is a smart waffle iron which it'll actually stop heating it when it's actually done. And if this is the kind of smart waffle iron that you can put no matter what the amount of ingredients, but if the waffle comes out picture perfect how it should be, and my God, how it actually tastes like how they do it at McDonald's, and mind you, the hot cakes down here in the Caribbean that McDonald's does, superb. Anyway, shameless plug for the Caribbean fast food. But anyway, if it came out like that, I'd buy that sucker in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? You two were saying about when the waffles would burn and stuff, and that. What feature that would justify so much? On-screen notifications. You get an on-screen notification when your waffle is done.
That is the end of our podcast. Him being a complete geek and a troll. I want to thank the viewers for tuning in and for the questions. I really appreciate it. Ignore the Alpha Disciple. He is a bitch. For that move, we're gonna go ahead and close it down for tonight. Starting not from my left, that's where Alpha Disciple is. We're gonna start from my right. Triple M, go ahead and give your piece, man, because he's the damn troll.
Anyway, this is Triple M, and even though this weekend was actually there's a Splatoon a Splatfest going on that it's either versus blue or red. And
is it this weekend?
I think it was this weekend.
I thought it was like February 26th or something. I could be wrong.
Oh, 26th? Then I still have a chance to change my avatar. Well, screw that. This is Triple M, the Wolf and Fox the game that forms into a fireball. Whew, that was hot. And also pops out in my artworks, and this has been the craziest cast that I've been so far. Take care, everyone.
All right, next up, it will be KH.
Wonderful podcast, one on the KH Anime.
And no Mario Maker. I'm proud of you, man. I have to say, I'm so glad that you've learned to face your addiction. Congrats on getting past step 6. I mean,
the first part is always exceptional.
I told you that I was home for the weekend and I don't have them. Were you with me?
Just saying, I'm so fucking proud of you, man.
So he's been forced to be access denied of his own drugs.
Oh, and for the viewers out there, be sure to check out his page. He's a big retro gamer fan. In fact, he just beat, what was it? You beat it on hard. Was it Contra 3?
Yeah, I got a photo.
Oh.
All right. But yeah, be sure to check out his page. If you like platformers and retro gameplay, he does plenty of that. I don't do nearly as much, but
I do some
old school gaming at its finest. I would tell you that much.
I do some modern games from time to time. So just look out.
But also just let you know when it comes to modern game, he sucks at Splatoon. Moving on, Kenoshi.
Oh, come on,
Well, my name's Kenoshi Abominito, and this is a pretty good podcast. Hope to be in a future one, and I hope to talk to you all later.
You'll be back, man. Trust me. If I gotta drag your ass back, you'll be back. And last but not least, I don't want to let him go for the shit he said at the end. But go ahead, Double M.
The
You
Messiah.
know, you know you loved it. But yeah, it's yeah, you know it is Double M, also Alpha Disciple, as I've got my profile sign in here. You know, just I haven't really got anything planning too much. I did do a Millie freestyle. Now that's a bit kind of outdated now, but I've always wanted to do one. So I have got one on this channel that I'm using to talk here now. So if you all want to check that out, you can check that out. But other than that, I don't really have any plans. You know, like I kind of done my couple videos, especially like the one with the about the NX rumors and orange juice and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so yeah, I'll just end it there because I think I'm starting. I think Dr. Feelgood's gonna like not be feeling so good about the way I'm going on right now.
Oh no, not at all. But and also be sure, guys, you check out his page, and if you want to hear some of his of the Alpha Disciples, you know, work, definitely check out the his page and some of the older OGL podcasts just to get a little sample of it. I'm pretty sure you'll like what you hear if you're a fan of
Yeah.
real deal shit, and I'm not just saying that, but pretty damn good shit.
I'm gonna do like because it's Valentine's Day where I am right now, so you know I'm gonna do like a little video of a poem I wrote. It's called What Is Beauty. I'm gonna do a little video of it. It's gonna be rough, so excuse the mistakes that you'll see in it, but it's basically taking a whole different angle on the idea of love poetry. It's more kind of it's kind of like a love poem, but more in a kind of realistic male perspective.
Love
Okay.
potion number
So be on the
9.
lookout for that. And as always, I'm your host, Dr.
Oh, wait a minute,
Feelgood.
Doctor. We forgot about to give shout outs to Mr. Red Fox and the Commander.
Oh, that really is. I do apologize. I forgot about those bastards that abandoned us. But Mr. Red Fox, be sure to check them out. He normally does his BS busters, I believe, on Saturdays. And I think he's still busting the BS. I'm not sure. He's busting something else right now, but we're moving on from that. And also be sure to check out The Good Shepherd now and in the near future. I do believe he has some new content coming. He also has a giveaway, which he has yet to do on this podcast. I'll drag it out his ass, believe me. But I'm doing a giveaway as well soon. Just haven't come up with the details yet, but be on the lookout for that. And as always, I'm your host, Dr. Feelgood. I do have an upcoming video that will be called Splatoon 8 months later. It's going to be basically about Splatoon after he got all of his, you know, DLC content, all the weapons, gear. But I'm going to be talking about that in detail. But
I bet that's going to be 7 pages long, just like in that that gaming magazine that you said earlier.
it's going to be probably about a 15 to 20-minute video. But I'm just going to talk about, you know, the overall of the game itself. You know, we finally got the last at least free DLC according to people out there in Nintendo and back in January. So I want to review it all and let people know what the game was really about and how the whole package stacked up. But anyway, you know, as I always say, you know, keep it gaming no matter what you plan on. Keep it gaming, enjoy your games, and last of all, you know, kiss my ass.
Rest in peace, game trailers.
Exposed.
Oh my